Oh. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om and good evening from Niagara Falls. Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the best commentary on Bhagavad Gita, has 12 cantos or 12 chapters. And each of these chapters has a specific focus. Very much like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, each chapter has a specific focus. And I want to list these out for you. See if you can try to write these down. This would be important to know in your study of Sanatana Dharma. Chapter 1, the focus is Adhikari. Adhikari is the ideal student. And here we're introduced to Raja Parikshita. In the second canto, the focus is sadhana. What is the adhikari supposed to do? What are the disciplines to be followed? What are the practices? Canto 3 is sarga. Sarga is creation, and particularly Bhagwan's creation. Chapter 4 is Visarga, which is a special creation. This is known as human's creation. So Bhagwan's creation is emphasized in chapter 3. In chapter 4, it's our creation. Chapter 5 is called Sthana. Sthana is, now that creation is essentially finished, all of this being established. Chapter 6 is Poshana. Poshana means nourishment or growth, like Pushan, which is another name for the sun. After that, we have Utayaha. Utayaha is a further elaboration of what is manifesting. So these are not black and white chapters. They overlap with each other, just like Srimad Bhagavad Gita. After that, we have Manvantara. Manvantara is describing the Manus, the leaders of all of this creation, and each leader has a particular timeline. So this Manvantara emphasizes that. After that, we have Ishanukata. Ishanukata, which are the narrations of Isha, of Ishvara, of Bhagwan. Okay. Then after that, we have Nirodha. Nirodha is to bring this all back. Nirodha is to dissolve. Okay, so I'm at 10 now. I'm going to go through these again. Adhikari, sadhana, sarga, visarga, sthana, poshana, utayaha, manvantara, then ishanukata, nirodha. Canto 11 is mukti. Mukti, and this is really where Bhagavan Krishna, who is the heart of Srimad Bhagavatam, who is Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavan Krishna's manifestation is dissolved. And number 12 is ashraya. Ashraya means support, refuge, solace. Everyone got all 12. And you should know this because in time I will conduct a virtual course on Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm giving you the seeds for that. Now a shloka for you to understand all 12 of these subjects. Dashamasya vishuddhyartam navanam iha lakshanam. Which means, leaving aside adhikari and sadhana, the next 9 topics, their only purpose is to describe the 10th topic. So again, leaving adhikari and sadhana aside, so 1 and 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, their only purpose is to describe that 12th canto, which is Ashraya. And the idea being is that Bhagavan is the Ashraya of all. Bhagavan is the support of all. And for those in the Moha Mudgara course, it's not that Bhagavan is the support of all, Bhagavan is all. So all of Srimad Bhagavatam really has one focus, and that is divinity. That is Bhagavan. And I'm sharing this because now we're going to start a new chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And you should know, you should feel if you're growing with this course. And you will know you're growing with this course if you come to understand and appreciate a little bit more. Every moment, every day, a little bit more. There is only Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the means, Bhagavan is the ends. That is called the divine life. Coming back to Srimad Bhagavad Gita specifically, chapter 1 is the prelude to this play. As a prelude to our lives. This is what we relate to. This is how the stage is set. Chapter 2 is the table of contents. So we just completed the table of contents of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavan lists all the subjects that he's going to be describing. Jnana, karma, bhakti, the fulfillment of all of this, we ended chapter 2 with. And now chapters 3 through 17, Bhagavan will take each of these topics and he will elaborate on them, so that with clarity there can be practice. And then when we get to chapter 18, it will be the summary of all that we have studied. So you have a prelude, you have a table of contents, and then you have elaborations, finally ending with a summary. Chapter 2 has a very broad focus, but I'm just going to give you one practice point, one practice message, and that is to sublimate the lower P's, to sublimate this movement towards pleasure, towards possession, towards position. And if you're sublimating the lower P's, it's because you're focused on the only P, which is peace. There are not 4 purusharthas, there is only one, and that is moksha. And if you think there's 4, then a lot more understanding is needed, because there's not. There is only one. I just came back from Chicago last night, and while I was in Cleveland before that and then Chicago, I got to meet many of our Bhagavad Gita course students. And many of our Bhagavad Gita course students were sharing with me that they're slowly falling behind in our course. And really slowly means fastly, because we've only done 2 chapters out of 18. That's 1/9. And, when I'm with them, then I politely say, that's okay. Keep trying. But then when I have a public forum, I can really express my emotions. You know why you're falling behind? Is because you're still focused on the lower piece. But if peace is your focus, then so will this Bhagavad Gita course, no? How can you allow yourself to fall behind? Think, what are you doing with your time? Now, all of you who are not falling behind, now you don't even have the opportunity to do that with this pre-lashing towards that. We enter chapter 3. And chapter 3 is a fan favorite. And I'll tell you why it's a fan favorite, because we actually don't know what chapter 3 focuses on. So I'll elaborate. When I was in Chicago, I had facilitated a workshop on balancing traditions and family. And this was focused on young adults born in North America who now have kids and are raising their kids, but they don't know about their traditions because their parents don't know about their traditions. And it's not their parents' fault, because their parents were working to survive. To be able to focus on traditions is a privilege. And many of us have that privilege. Specifically, I don't blame my parents. It's not my parents' fault. They never taught my sisters and I how to facilitate puja and what these customs mean. They had to work to survive. But I have the privilege to understand these traditions and these customs, so I did try to understand them. And what I've realized is that there are answers to why we do what we do. There are answers. And if you feel otherwise, I will call it out and say, there are answers, but do you have questions? See, if you don't have questions, then there won't be answers, correct? We superficially say, why do we wear tilak? Why do we have prenatal samskaras? Why should we call this Sanatana Dharma? And then we leave it like that. So there's not really a question. So there's never an answer that comes with it. Then we have to do workshops on balancing traditions and family. But if you have the question, there are answers. And for all of us in this class right now, there's 115 cameras on. And many of you are studying in groups, or at least couples. All of us have the privilege to be able to find those answers. We are Manava. What does Manava mean? Human. Don't say man, because then if you're not a man by gender, then you exclude yourself from that. Manava by manyate. So we are humans by thinking. Manyate, man. Using the mind. This is what makes us humans. And if you want to go even higher, Madhava by Manava. We can become Madhava, the Lord of Mother Lakshmi, meaning the Lord of virtues, another name for Bhagavan Krishna, only by being Manava, which is by Manyate. So by thinking, we can lead ourselves all the way to Madhava. And when I say lead, I mean rediscover that we have such virtues, that we are this. But if we don't engage in thinking, we are not humans, leave alone God, then we are just pashus. What does pashu mean? Animal. But pashu comes from the understanding of pashyati. Pashyati means sees. An animal only lives by its senses, by instinct. It's always looking for possession, looking for position. So for us too, if we're not thinking, if we're not giving intention, a focus in our lives, and we're only living on instinct, then we are pashus. Chapter 3 begins with Prince Arjuna's questions. And his are not so much questions as they are confusions. And in secular sciences, we often treat confusions to be negative. But in a subjective science, confusions are not negative. This confusion we go through is the manthana. The Kshira Sagra Manthana, correct? The churning of the Milky Ocean. That manthana, that churning, that confusion is what brought out mukti. Isn't it? That amrita that came out, that is freedom. But if they didn't engage in the manthana, if you and I don't get confused, then there will be no mukti. Because confusions means we're applying ourselves. If we don't apply ourselves, there can't be any confusions. It's like stepping on people's toes. If you're stepping on people's toes, that means you're moving, correct? If you're not stepping on anyone's toes, it means you're not moving. If people complain about you, it's because you're working. If you're not working, then nobody's going to complain about you, right? It's inevitable. If we don't have any questions, it's because of two reasons. Reason number one, we don't have any questions because we already know all the answers. So there's no questions. Reason number two, and this one is more severe, we're not interested. If you have no interest in cooking, then you don't care what's for dinner, how it was made. You don't take pictures of it and post it on Facebook and hashtag it because you have no interest in cooking. Right? In the same way, if we don't have any questions about Advaita Vedanta, it's because we know Advaita Vedanta, which means you are already experiencing mukti, or you're not interested. Swami Tejamananda shares, when we have questions, there's three reasons why we have questions, okay? Reason number one is we want to clarify a subject. Okay, I want to know more about what Bhagavan Krishna teaches Prince Arjuna. So I want to clarify. Reason number two, I want to confirm what I already know. So I've already studied Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and I want to know what Bhagavan Krishna tells Prince Arjuna. I want to confirm that I know and what I studied is real. Okay, so clarification and confirmation. Number three is you want to crow. I learned a new word today. I was trying to go with this alliteration, okay? Clarification, confirmation. I need another word with C that means to gloat, to boast, to be conceited and egotistical, and crow. To crow means to show off what you know. So many people, now that's like a sassy insult. Stop crowing. So if you want to crow, then you ask questions that you already know the answer, but you want everyone else to know that you know the answer. I get to meet such crows a whole lot. And often when they're asking questions, they're asking the question and giving the answer, and all I want to do is just yawn openly to them in front of everyone, but I'm supposed to be compassionate, supposed to be. So in my mind, I do all of that. So these are the three reasons why someone would ask a question. Now, when it comes to a subjective science, if you have a question about a subjective science, I'm positive almost everyone else will have the same question. In a subjective science, they're called universal questions. I'll give you an example. One universal question is, how do you know that you're purifying your mind? How many of you have that question? Right? We all have that question. Everyone else says, no, we already know we have pure minds. Another question we would have is, why did Bhagavan take avatar? if you really like Bhakti Shastras and Kathas, tell us more stories about Hanumanji or Ganeshji. Universal questions. And now for all of the people who came to listen to Puja Swami Tejomayananda's talks in Pittsburgh this last July, revolving around Guru Purnima, what was the text that he took up? He took up Sri Rama Gita, and the prelude to that was universal questions, and you can type it in. Let's see who was... Lots of you were there. Universal questions and timeless answers. Very good. People are quickly checking Chinmaya publications. I know. Really, through Zoom, I can see what you're doing. You may think you're seeing what I'm doing, but really I'm watching what you're doing. Universal questions. So if you ever have a question in a subjective science, if you're sincere, you will be courageous and you will ask. And Arjuna is sincere, which is why he asks. And what he asks Bhagavan Krishna is, you completed the last section of teachings talking about the path of knowledge. You started answering me, describing the path of knowledge as a means, and then you went to the path of knowledge as the ends, at the end of chapter 2. Okay? So shlokas 11 to 30, you describe the path of knowledge as a means. And then near the end, I think shloka 55 onwards, or 54 onwards, you describe the path of knowledge as the ends. So you gave this a lot of focus. But here you are telling me to act, to follow the path of karma. And he calls it Gora karma. You're telling me to engage in that which is terrible. The Bhishma is in front of me. You want me to shoot Bhishma? Bhagavan, guide me. Tell me what you want me to do. Do you want me to follow the path of knowledge or the path of action? Bhagavan, I think you're confused. And so your confusion is coming towards me. Arjuna's question is sincere. Arjuna's question is seeking clarification. He's not crowing and he's not confirming. He is seeking clarification. And Bhagavan begins this chapter saying, the path of knowledge and the path of karma are not mutually exclusive. Are not mutually exclusive. If you're following the path of knowledge, it's because you've already gone through the path of action. And if you're following the path of action, this will lead you to the path of knowledge. So they're not mutually exclusive, but Prince Arjuna thinks they are, which is why this question has come up. Now for us, please tune into Arjuna's question and Bhagavan's answer. Many people boast about being a bhakta or a jnani, and they look down on people following karma yoga. These three paths are actually one path if you look at this as a Venn diagram. Okay? They all intersect, and when they all intersect, that is the path. Now that overlapping portion, you can approach it from here or here or here. Which one is the best? Best means mutually exclusive. Like talking about the varnas, the brahmanas are the best, or the shudras are the best. See, you're making them mutually exclusive. Saying the ashramas are the best. Whenever we use the word best, then we have not understood Sanatana Dharma. Now coming to this answer some more. I'm on section 3.2 now. When Prince Arjuna's chariot arrives at Kurukshetra, then Sanjaya describes his chariot as Ratha, Ratha means chariot, Uttama, the highest chariot or the best chariot. Now, Ratha, if you think of the symbolism of the charioteer, the horses, etc., what does the chariot symbolize? Feel free to type this in. What does the chariot symbolize? Body. Very good. The chariot symbolizes the body. When Sanjaya describes Arjuna's chariot as the best, what he's describing is Arjuna's circumstance. The home that he lives in is the best for him. So now, remember, our name is Arjuna too. So your body and all of the circumstances that really are oriented because of your body is the best for you. How many of you have snow on the ground? It snowed all day. That's the best for you. And all of the people who didn't have snow on the ground, that's the best for you. The people with snow on the ground, we needed more exercise. The people without snow on the ground, they didn't need the exercise. Where is the grass the greenest once again? Where you water it. Ratha Uttama. This body and all of the circumstances inside and outside in our lives are the best for Vasana Kshaya. Remember that terminology, Vasana Kshaya. Vasana Kshaya means reduction or eradication of vasanas. So if you're born as a male, that's best for you for Vasana Kshaya. If you're a grandparent of 25 grandkids, that's your Vasana Kshaya. Very difficult, but that's your Vasana Kshaya. It is the best for you. Now why? Why should we engage in this Kshaya? If you think of what we desire promotion, we desire respect, we desire obedience, we desire good weather, we desire pay for our efforts. Desires are an effect. Those desires are because of vasanas. The vasanas are the cause, the desires are the effect. And if I can change these to two English words, smallness propels desires. Smallness propels desires. Now, why am I calling vasanas as smallness? When you think you're the vasanas, it's clearly much smaller than if you don't have vasanas, correct? Vasanas are an expression of finitude. So if you feel like you have vasanas, you feel like you're finite. And if you feel like you're finite, that means you can't feel like you're infinite. So vasanas are a sense of smallness. And when I feel small, I have desires. Now, where did this sense of smallness come from? I'm taking it deeper. The desires are the effect. The cause is smallness. The smallness is an effect. The cause is separation. Separation from your nature. Your nature is infinitude. But as I use this word separation, I have to put in those words as if you're separated from your nature. Another word we use is apparently separate from your nature. As if and separate, apparent, it's we feel that we're separate when we're actually not separate from our nature. In Sanskrit, this is called the Hridaya Granthihi, the knots of the heart. Avidya causes kama, and kama causes karma. Avidya, kama, karma. I am as if separate from my nature, avidya. So I feel small, and when I feel small, I feel sad. So that's where the kama comes in. I feel sad. So I have these desires to purge that sadness. And so what do I have to do? I have to engage in karma. I have to do this, I have to do that. After that, I have to do some more. Why did I do that? Those are called the knots of the heart. How many of you have ever experienced indigestion? Acid reflux. Imagine that being there permanently. That's what the Hridaya Granthi is. You know, you cringe, you almost like use your nails and just kind of as if we're doing something. Okay, indigestion, go away. But you just feel like that. This sense of incompleteness, even when everything is complete, that's those knots of the heart. Which is why in Mundaka Upanishad, what is taught is you have to cut these knots of the heart. Avidya causes kama and kama causes karma. So what sword do you have to use to cut these knots of the heart? Vidya. Knowledge. Not ordinary knowledge. Knowledge of infinity, which we call Brahma Vidya. For those who actually read section 3.2, they defined action. So let's see. What is action? Please type in the chat room what action is. There's a very specific definition they gave, which I've actually never heard before or read. Very good. That which tires us. Action is that which tires us. Now see the sequence. Avidya, kama, karma. Action is that which tires us. This sense of incompleteness is very tiring. And in the reading it says, even sleep tires us. Now I know, shocking. Even sleep tires us. All of the university students immediately are saying, wrong. There's a typo in the Bhagavad Gita course. You can't sleep forever. As lazy as you are, as Kumbhakarna-like as you are, as exhausted as you are, you cannot sleep forever. And when I say forever, I mean even 15 or 18 hours. I don't think you can sleep for 24 hours unless you've gone through some trauma. You cannot. And then your eyes will open and you'll feel like, I can do it. I can sleep more. And then your eyes are closed, but you're not sleeping. It's just frustrating. You just keep turning and turning and turning. Even with laziness. You cannot spend endless hours doing nothing. If we don't do anything physically, at least mentally, then we start daydreaming. And that's brought up too in the reading. Action is that which tires us. And Prince Arjuna's question about, should I act or should I not act? It shows his confusion because you have to act. There is no choice but to act. And our actions shouldn't tire us physically or mentally only. Our actions should tire the vasanas. See the picture now. Actions are that which tires us. Those actions should exhaust the vasanas. The karma should exhaust the kama. The kama should exhaust the avidya. So Arjuna's question about acting or not acting, confused. He has to act. And here's where I really need you to pick up on this subtle point. The message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is not action. It is not karma. Because everyone picks up on chapter 3. I said it's a fan favorite because it teaches us about action. That's not true. Arjuna's already acting. We are already acting. We don't need to be told, act. What this chapter teaches us is what actions and why actions. In other words, the knowledge of what actions we should engage in and why we should engage in these particular actions. Simply put, more important than action is attitude. More important than action is attitude. I was with Guruji and many other acharyas in a particular setting. And one of our acharyas had asked Guruji the question of, Guruji, I don't do so much for Chinmaya mission. I have a smaller center and I do a few classes here and there. And he or she was looking around at all of the other acharyas, who have larger centers and many classes. And he or she was feeling very bad about it. And here she wasn't really asking a question, but was just putting that thought out there, knowing that Guruji would offer insight into that. And Guruji said, more important than the seva is the spirit of seva. More important than the seva is the spirit of seva. In other words, he was telling he or she that someone can have a larger center and have many classes, but if the spirit of their seva is not pure, and if your spirit of seva is pure, then you are the greater sevaka or sevika. You are closer to Bhagwan. Once again, it's not the actions, it's the attitude. And there's a wonderful line shared in the reading that says, the message of Gita, perform the right action with the right attitude. Perform the right action with the right attitude. The right action. See, if you're trying to get to a certain appointment and you're driving really well, but in the wrong way, what's the point of that driving then, correct? Or you're going to an appointment and you're driving in the right direction, but you're so cranky. Even the people in the next car to you, they can feel your crankiness. Then again, there's no development that comes with that. There's no vasana kshaya. Today, as everyone in our neighborhood was shoveling their driveways, and my mother and I, we were shoveling our driveway. And as we were shoveling then, my mother said, I'm going inside now, and you should come inside too. There's too much snow. And I said, no, I enjoy it. This is my exercise. And so I was able to shovel. And my father said, use a snowblower. My parents are very good at delegating. Just come inside, use a snowblower. But I enjoy shoveling the snow. And if we live close, I'd be happy to shovel your driveway also. Because think, you're in nature, and nature heals. With every time you lift up the shovel, you can do japa. It's exercise. It's needed. So shoveling the driveway is the right action. Okay, we know that. But with the right attitude is up to you. You can be miserable. That's where heart attacks and strokes come from. But if you have the right attitude, that's where you lose weight and lose stress. Same action, but the attitude is different. Completely up to us. If your actions tire your vasanas completely, that's called naishkarmya. Naishkarmya. Now, a quick test for you. You may not have heard this word naishkarmya before, but you have heard a similar sounding word, which I've said many, many, many times in our courses. What does naishkarmya sound like? What does it sound like? Very good. Today, everyone is on their game. Nishkama. Nishkama leads to naishkarmya. Nishkama means selflessness, leads to naishkarmya, which means egolessness. Okay? Naishkarmya literally means actionlessness. Okay? Actionlessness is only possible with desirelessness, and desirelessness is only possible with vasanalessness or egolessness. In other words, remember those knots of the heart? They've been cut. If there's no karma, that means there's no kama. If there's no kama, there's no avidya. And how did it happen? Through action. We have to act to get to actionlessness. We have to desire desirelessness. We have to create the atma vasana to purge the anatma vasana. Naishkarmya, put differently, is, in English, unaction, with a U. Unaction. Unaction, I'm just going to put up here, okay? How did unaction come? From action. And if you're not engaged in action, it's called inaction. That's with an I. Inaction, no development. Action, development. Unaction, no development, because you've already reached the top. You are free. There is mukti. There's no sense of separation. There's no sense of smallness. There's no sense of sadness. So in this class today, what our Bhagavad Gita course is asking all of us, are you integrating your thoughts, words, and deeds? When your thoughts, words, and actions are integrated, it's called dharma. Are you following dharma? And if you are, it's called acharati. Acharati means character, conduct, responsible. And if you're not, the very harsh word is introduced in chapter 3. Chapter 3 is an awesome chapter because Bhagavan Krishna uses so many sattvic swear words at us. He uses stena. He calls us thieves. He calls us, in this case, mityacharaha. That's a really harsh designation. Acharaha means, again, conduct, character, etc. But there's a prefix, mithya. Now, we've all studied mithya before. Sat, that which ever exists. Asat, that which never exists. And mithya is that which is there, but it's not there. Mithyacharaha is someone who is a hypocrite. They think something and say something else. Or they say something and do something else. In other words, they're not following dharma, they are following adharma, which means there's no vasana kshaya, which means they're wasting their opportunity. Mityacharaha. So are you engaged in acharati, like the designation acharya? Or are you engaged in mityachara, with the designation of hypocrisy? Oh.